really fun weekend. It was a lot, 4 in a row is a lot. And I figured that it would be useful for me to give you guys some tips just in case you happen to have a wedding or a weekend where you have a ton of weddings. Like if you're facing a weekend, especially nowadays, this year there's so many postponements and so many couples are taking random dates just because they don't want to postpone another year. They're like, you know what, we'll take the Thursday, we'll take the Monday, just to have the wedding this year and get it over with and keep it moving because we're tired of postponing, we're tired of waiting, we're tired of telling our guests to save another date. So a lot of week dates, a lot of random dates, I'm sure you've noticed, are getting taken up. And I have several times this year where I have 4 weddings in a weekend. I'm talking 4 or 5 times, I think, maybe 3, 4, 5 times. And I've never had it ever. So it's just insane. So if you come to this situation where you got 3, 4 weddings, you should, all right. The tips I'm about to tell you right now, okay, you should be doing every weekend regardless, but especially if you have a lot of weddings, because the hardest part about having so many weddings in a row is they can run together. A song that's on this person's do not playlist is on the must play for this one, and names and everything else. You don't want to mess stuff up. So here's my tips, okay? Number 1, do a morning review every morning. Okay, every morning when you have a wedding that day, right, especially if you got a lot that weekend, do a morning review. So what I do is I come here right at this very desk and I go through my playlist. I go through all the notes, right, all the notes I took on this couple and the meetings and everything. I search my email and I look through every single email every email correspondence I've ever had with a couple, okay? Read every single email, reread, because sometimes there's that one email that you forgot about, that they said, hey, can you make sure you play this one song at this time? Yeah, no problem. It's like 6 months ago and you completely forgot about it, didn't make a note, you were busy when you read it, whatever, right? I read every single email. I literally go over every piece of information I have on that couple, on that wedding in particular, and make sure I cross all my T's and dot all my I's. Make sure I am good to go no matter what. And it refreshes my memory too, with them and what they were looking for in their music and do not plays and all that. Just do a morning refresher. I do it over my coffee, maybe have breakfast first, but regardless, just do it in the morning because then it's going to be fresh in your mind and you're going to know what you're in for that day, right? It's not going to blend together. Don't just wake up and get dressed and run out the door and do this shit an hour before the wedding. You want to do it that morning, make it fresh in your head. At least it helps me. The second tip I want to give you guys is to say their names, not to play this song. You could probably play this song. It's been a while since I played this song. It's a 90s hit, Destiny's Child. But say their names, right? This is something I do a lot. Santi will vouch for this, right? If I'm doing a wedding for David and Kayla, like last night, right? David and Kayla, the whole day, the whole trip up there, as I'm talking with Santi and we're prepping, we're loading the truck, we're doing what we have to do, I'm using their names. Hey, we're doing David and Kayla's wedding today. Santi, we got David and Kayla's wedding today. Dave and Kayla, they're going to rage. Kayla and Dave, they're going to rage. Whatever. And I'm just mentioning them whenever I can. And it sometimes it doesn't make sense. You're just mentioning them to mention them. But what you're doing is as you're saying it out loud over and over again, right? As you're going about your day, as you're doing what you normally do, prepping for a wedding, loading up, driving there or whatever, you're engraving their names in your head. So there's no mess up because especially when you're doing 3, 4 weddings in a row, they can blur together. You can slip and have what do they call it? A Freudian slip or something? Or I don't know if that applies to this situation, so don't quote me. But you can have some type of slip and say last night's couple's names. And literally that's one of the worst possible things you could do at a wedding is get the couple's name wrong. Literally one of the worst possible things of all time. So I constantly that day am saying their names over and over and over and over again to make sure I don't forget. Very, very important. Okay. Tip number 3. Keep a do not playlist handy, right? So I have my do not playlist kind of typed up, all ready to go. And I keep it right behind me. So I set up in front of my facade or whatever. I keep it right behind me, right where I can grab it whenever. Because I'm constantly, that's the hardest part, especially when you have in-depth do not plays for some weddings. You have multiple weddings in a row. You're going to have a couple on Friday that wants these songs, and then the couple on Saturday doesn't want those songs, and it can get confusing. You want to have that handy. As I'm mixing, as I'm DJing at the wedding, if I'm second guessing myself, I'm about to play the song, I'm like, wait a second, this was on a do not play somewhere. You know what I mean? I can check real quick. No, I'm good. Bam. It's handy, right? I'm not like fumbling, looking for it last minute. I'm not just guessing and, just playing the song and thinking it's okay and not triple checking myself, right? Just have that shit nearby so you can reference it the entire night. I've done it a million times. I played songs on a do not play by accident just because I got confused in between weddings. And, most of the time you're okay, but every once in a while you run into a couple where they're going to be pissed. or maybe it's a song. I don't know. Who knows the background of why they don't want it? You know what I mean? It can potentially be a big deal, obviously. So make sure you keep that shit nearby. The next tip I want to give you is not to cry on social media about having so many weddings. Now, some DJs, some people in general, right, when they're busy, right, and you're working a lot, especially like this past weekend, I was in a heat wave, right, in New Jersey. It was like 197% humidity, and it was like 85 to 90 degrees every single day this whole week. At least it felt that way. Like my balls were sweating all week. It was all weekend. It was terrible. Terrible, right? And it could be easy to go in stores like, oh man, third wedding row, fourth wedding row, it's crazy, I'm so tired, I'm working so hard. But you gotta realize that a lot of your couples, maybe even the couple's guests or people that know your couple or whatever, who knows? You never know who's gonna be watching your stories, okay? You never know who follows you. And if you're putting out there that you're tired, and you're beat up, it's been a crazy weekend, one more and I can't wait for this to be over, or man, I'm tired today. Well, maybe the wrong person sees it and thinks, oh my God, like Nick's about to do my wedding, or my DJ's about to do my wedding today. The DJ's about to do my friend's wedding today, and he's talking about how tired he is on Instagram. Like, I hope he doesn't suck today. I hope he doesn't mess something up, right? Like, you just think about that, okay? It's easy to get into the fog and use Instagram stories as your outlet, but this is not a situation where you want to cry, especially since we've been out of work for 15 damn months, okay? So you better enjoy every single event you're doing, all right? There shouldn't be any bitching whatsoever, regardless. But if you're feeling the need to bitch, don't do it on your stories, or just keep your couples in mind, okay? You just never know who's watching, and I see a lot of DJs do it, and I just think that, you can potentially shoot yourself in the foot with this, I was tired yesterday, I'm not going to lie, but, the Bear Brook has a cappuccino machine. I made my ass a cappuccino at like 7:30 right before intros, and I went off, and I did my thing, you know what I mean? And everything really was fine, and there's no reason, and plus, complaining on your story isn't good content. Okay, it's just not, there's no value in that, all right? Would you guys watch my stories if I was just bitching the whole time? No. I mean, unless it was like a rant maybe, and it was like but regardless. Don't cry on your stories, people, okay? That's all I'm saying. Next tip I can give you is I guess I was going to say bring an extra pair of underwear. I guess it's really because I was in this heat wave and I needed it. Because, oh my God, was my ass sweating. It was disgusting. But, all right, if you have if you happen to be working in a heat wave, bring an extra pair of underwear. It doesn't really apply to multiple weddings, though. All right, just forget I said that. Anyway. And the last tip I can give you is obvious, but just get as much sleep as you possibly can. Try and don't get caught up on your phone. I have this bad habit. It happened to me Saturday night. I got home and I was still wide awake, and I was just sitting there on my phone for like 2 hours, and I didn't get to bed till 4 or 5 in the morning. Had to wake up early and leave. You need your sleep. You're gonna crash if you don't get sleep throughout the weekend. So just like make it a point to put your phone far away and just get your ass to bed. Do whatever you got to do to get to sleep immediately. You're going to need it or else you'll burn out. I've been there. Trust me.